The market is trying to steady itself. Palantir is taking a hit because it is valued like a superstar. Oil and geopolitical risk are still hanging over the tape, and the earnings season is shifting from the giants to the next tier of companies. Now the stocks try to stabilize as Palantir pays the valuation tax, which basically is telling us that Wall Street is portraying with a side of stocks try to stabilize, meaning the market is not in a full panic mode, but is trying to regain its footing after a rough patch. Palantir pays the valuation tax. Palantir is being punished not because the quarter was bad, but because the stock already had a very expensive price tag. In other words, when a stock is priced like a Nobel Prize-winning astronaut, even a great report can still feel not good enough to traders. Now, Iran is messy and oil is holding, and the earnings wave is shifting from giants to second-tier names. And now we're seeing that Iran is messy, the geopolitical situation is still unstable, and oil is holding. The crude prices are not exploding higher again right away. And earnings wave is shifting from the giants to second-tier names. The biggest headline-grabbing companies have mostly reported. So now the market is focusing on the next batch of earnings reports. Now we see also that Monday's pullback tied to the Iran flare-up, and in plain language, after a shaky Monday, traders are trying to stop the bleeding and see whether the market can breathe again. And seeing that the crude spiked after the UAE intercepted Iranian missiles and US destroyers moved through the Strait of Hormuz under fire, while oil has since settled a bit. That matters because oil is the market's mood ring, and if oil is calm, investors usually feel less like they need to hide under their desks. If oil goes berserk, inflation fears and risk fears tend to wake up and start throwing chairs. Now we are seeing consolidating rather than breaking down of the many stocks, and that is a fancy way of saying the market is pausing and adjusting recent gains instead of falling apart. And we notice that many stocks that had run up into earnings are doing what extended stocks should do. They are digesting and basing, and this is market speak. For they went to the buffet too hard, now they need a nap. The important point is that the selling has not become a full-on collapse. Instead, the market seems to be holding together. And we are seeing a bigger worry here, which could be a sharp breakdown on heavy volume, and that is not happening. And this is why the tone is cautious and not panicked. Now, when we get to this, that Palantir pays the valuation tax, we see that Palantir becomes the example of what happens when a company reports very strong results, but the stock still slides because expectations were already sky high. And we see that Palantir, the morning's headline, as the author calls it, because it's the stock most likely to dominate trade chatter throughout the day. Now, Palantir's quarterly numbers were solid, and first quarter revenue was 1.63 billion versus 1.54 billion estimate, up 85% year over year. And the EPS was 0.33 versus the 0.28 estimate. And that means Palantir beat both revenue and earnings expectations, and in normal human language, that's a strong report. If a student studies for a test, scores way above the class average and still gets told nice effort, but no drinks today, that would be the stock market version of this reaction. Numbers were good. The problem is that the stock had already been acting like those numbers were the minimum acceptable result. And then looking at the second quarter revenue guidance, came in at 1.80 billion, above 1.68 billion consensus, and full year 2026 revenue was raised to 7.65 billion versus the 7.27 billion expected. It also notes that the U.S. commercial business stayed in a triple-digit growth territory. This is the kind of update bulls love because it means management is not just talking about the past quarter, it is also saying the future looks stronger than expected. But even here, the market response was not a standing ovation. That tells you just how rich Palantir's valuation had become. The market was basically saying, yes, excellent. Now prove you can keep doing that forever, preferably before my coffee gets cold. Then comes the key line. The stock was down about 2%, 3% in pre-market trading. Now here we see that what happens when a stock is priced for perfection and has a forward PE above 100. This is the valuation tax in action. When investors already believe a company is nearly flawless, a strong report is not enough by itself. It has to be not just good, but absurdly good, almost cartoonishly good, the kind of good that makes other stocks feel underachieving. So even though Palantir's beat estimates and raised guidance, the reaction was still negative because buyers were not rushing in to pay an even higher price. And so we see that Palantir had already been correcting since February, and its prior earnings report was followed by an 11% drop the next day despite strong results. And this is important because it shows this is not a one-day hiccup. The market has been rethinking the stock for a while. The author says today's reaction is more muted than last quarter's drop, and that is a small positive for bulls. However, this translates that the stock is still under pressure, but at least it is not getting body slammed the way it did before. And if you are rooting for the stock, less bad is not the same as great, but is still a step in the right direction. Then we come out here too that Palantir fits a wider pattern. This earnings season, stocks that beat EPS estimates are not getting rewarded like they used to, as Goldman Sachs notice cited, saying the median stock beating EPS estimates only outperformed S&P 500 by about 20 basic points. The next day, one of the smallest post-earnings reaction on record. That is a fancy way of saying the market is being stingy even when companies bring fake cake, candles, and a matching band. Traders are sometimes responding with a polite nod and a spreadsheet. The implication is that strong numbers alone are no longer enough to launch a stock upward if the valuation is already stretched. And then coming to the bar, to move a stock higher on a beat has gone up, and Palantir is the latest example. This is the core lesson for investors. The market is not judging companies in a vacuum. It is comparing reality with expectations. If expectations are low, a good quarter can spark fireworks. If expectations are already moon high, a good quarter can still feel like a shrug. And so we see here a question whether buyers will change their valuation view after a period of contemplation. That is really what this all comes down to. Are investors willing to keep paying a premium, or are they starting to say this is a great business but not at that price? And then we see that the broader story for many AI stocks is that sell the news remains in effect for names that run the most in earnings, and they may shrug to make new heights. That means some AI stocks may have already climbed so much before earnings that the report itself becomes the moment traders use to cash out. And we see here a point that to Alphabet as another example, noting that it is struggling to push higher after a very strong report. The message is simple. Sometimes the market does not reward good news because everyone already bought the rumor and is heading for the exit with their profits. It is the financial equivalent of showing up to a pizza party after the party is gone and everyone has already stolen the garlic bread. So now coming to the Iran section, which says the situation remains unresolved and chaotic. US destroyers transited the strait under coordinated Iranian threats. The UAE intercepted missiles for the first time since the ceasefire took effect last month, and President Trump said the conflict could last another 2 to 3 weeks. The point here is that the geopolitical risk has not disappeared. The market may be calm now, but the situation is still unstable, and that can pressure oil yields and investor sentiment. In plain language, the market is trying to act normal while standing near a fire extinguisher. And the market is handling the headline properly for now by pricing them without panicking, and that oil holding steady is a key development. That means traders are not yet treating the geopolitical tension as an excuse to hit the panic button. However, oil tells us more about market mood than almost anything else, which is another way of saying oil is a giant neon sign for inflation fear. If oil stays contained, the markets can keep focusing on earnings. If oil jumps, suddenly everyone remembers that energy costs seep into everything from shipping to margin to how annoying your grocery bill feels. And then author then says the key setup is whether oil rolls over or breaks above Monday's highs, and note says that Brent above 115 for any meaningful period would be a problem because inflation is already sticky, with the ISM prices index at its highest reading since April 2022. That is a warning about second-order effects. Higher oil does not just annoy drivers, it can ripple through the whole economy and make inflation harder to control. So we are seeing that this is basically saying the market can tolerate a lot, but if oil keeps climbing, the inflation goblin comes back out of the closet. And then, looking at the 10-year Treasury yield has stayed above its 50-day moving average since the war began, calling that a quiet headline that nobody is talking about. That matters because rising yields can make stocks, especially expensive growth stocks, less attractive. When yields stay elevated, investors often demand a better return to hold riskier assets. So even if the stock market is not panicking, higher yields are like carrying a backpack full of bricks up a hill. Not dramatic, but definitely annoying. Then, so in conclusion, we see that the article is making one of a big argument. The market is not broken, but is more selective than it was. Palantir's report was excellent, yet the stock still failed because the valuation was already stretched. Oil and geopolitics are adding background noise but not full-blown panic, and the next phase of earnings is less about giant headline beats and more about careful stock picking. This is why the piece feels both cautious and constructive at the same time. It is saying, in effect, the party is not over, but the host has started handing out smaller plates, and the music is lower, and everybody is suddenly pretending they only had one slice of cake. Thank you for watching. If you've liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please remember that God loves us and wants us to have a close relationship with Him. See you then. Please subscribe for more.